Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. Isn't this pretty? This is a fat quarter quilt. You buy fat quarters, you stitch them together, and I have a really easy way to finish it off. This is a great way if you just get started in quilting if you are a beginner. So let's get started. Here's what a fat quarter is. You can buy them individually, one at a time, or you can even buy them in packs like this. They'll have anywhere from 4 to 5 different fabrics in there. The one thing that's nice about buying it in a pack is all the colors are coordinated together. So if you have a hard time doing that, I would select a fat quarter pack. Now there's only 5 in here, and in this video I'm using 6. So then you could just go and buy one more fat quarter that goes along with these colors. And all you have to do is take them out of the package and give them a good pressing. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your fat quarter pieces are pressed really flat. And I'm going to stack a bunch of them together so I can cut them out at all the same size pretty much at the same time. So I'm going to lay them down, and I went through beforehand to see which one was the smallest because they're not always cut exactly 18 by 20 inches. So this one on top is actually 17 and a half. So I will cut all of them 17 and a half by 20 inches. So you want to take the raw edge, I'm going to just pull it up here a little bit, and pull it past one of the lines on your cutting mat to get it all cut. Make sure it's going straight across this way. And then take your long ruler. I recommend if you're going to do any kind of quilting that you get a 24-inch ruler. It's going to make life a lot easier for you. And when you're cutting through multiple layers of fabric, try to have either a new blade or relatively new rotary cutting blade. And then just go ahead, and because I'm cutting through a lot, I might have to go through twice. Nope, I was okay. My blade is brand new, so there. And now because I want to cut it 17 and a half inches wide, I'm going to move my ruler over 17 and a half inches, and I'm going to make my last cut. And now line up your ruler. There we go. And then make your last cut on the lengthwise. Now after doing this, I want to cut the other 2 ends straight. So I'm going to move this over, and I'm lining it up, and there we go. And I'm going to cut them all the same length, making sure your ruler is lined up exactly on those lines, and then cut. And then go down to your bottom edge here and cutting them all the same. Taking your time, and then do your last cut. I'm only using 6 fat quarters in this quilt, and this will make a nice lap size quilt. And so I have my long edges, my 21-inch edge going this way. Some of your fat quarters are longer than 20 inches. These, I was lucky on this, so 21 inches this way and 17 and a half inches going this way. And I line them up like this, trying to make the same colors aren't next to each other. So when this quilt is done, it's going to be about 52 inches by 62 inches or so. I'm going to start bringing my pieces together. So I'm bringing the 17 and a half inch edge together, and I'm laying them on top with the pretty sides facing each other. The pretty sides is also called front side or right side. There's a lot of different ways to call it. Now you can either use your sewing machine, and if you want to use a sewing machine, you can pin your pieces together and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam along here. Then when you're done stitching these two together, you're going to bring this one on top of this light colored one and stitch a 1/4 inch. You'll do the same thing with your second row. Now I'm not going to use a regular sewing machine. I'm going to use a serger, and when you use a serger, it's really, really fast. I'm going to place my raw edge of my fabric right on the edge here. So I've got my presser foot lifted up, lining it up. And you don't really want to have too much cut off with your blade there. So just keep it on this edge so you have a nice straight seam. And just begin to stitch. And as you go along, just make sure your fabric is lined up correctly. And as I said, just line this fabric on the edge there. Now stitch your 2 rows together. So you want to bring front sides together and lay them on top. And the first thing you want to do is match your 2 seams. And you want to make sure that the seam on the bottom is going in the opposite direction than the seam on top. And you do the same way at the other seam. Then you'll stitch right straight across this edge, either on your sewing machine or a serger. Now this is what it looks like when there's just 6 pieces. As I said, this is a really nice size lap quilt. But if you want to use this technique to make it for a bed, then you want to measure your bed, how far you want the sides to go down on your bed, and just keep adding enough fat quarters to cover that area. Once you have your quilt top all stitched together, then you need to decide how you're going to finish the quilt off. You're going to need to put batting in it and also fabric on the back. So there's 2 types of batting that I recommend you use. This one here is extra loft polyester batting, and you can get this at Walmart, Joann's, and on the internet. It makes your quilt fluffy. Over here, this is cotton batting, and you can get this at Joann's and Walmart and also off the internet. The differences are, the big difference I should say, is cost. The polyester batting is much more budget friendly. The cotton batting is a lot more expensive, and the price has really gone up lately. So you want to really think about it. There's also another batting that's a combination of both. It's a cotton and polyester blend, and you can also get that at Walmart, Joann's, and the internet. So the quilt that I'm finishing off, I'm using this one, but I'm also going to show you how to place this fabric in and how to finish the edges off of your quilt. I'm going to demonstrate now how to layer, and I'm just using a small piece of fabric to do that demonstration. So this yellow fabric is my quilt top, which would be your fat quarter top, and then this blue fabric here is on the bottom. Your cotton batting or polyester batting is in between. On this one, I'm using the polyester batting. To cut out fabric for the back, you want to measure the size of your quilt top and cut it 2 inches wider and 2 inches longer than your quilt top. And you're going to layer everything. So I have the quilt top, the polyester batting on here. I'm not using cotton in this demonstration. And then my fabric for the back. Then you're going to take safety pins and you're going to put it all over. You're going to scatter them all over the top. And for making a quilt, I like using safety pins. I would not use straight pins because something that large, you're going to poke yourself. You don't want to do that. Then you're going to do some quilting stitches. And I've done a really basic pattern here. I used a serpentine stitch on my sewing machine, but you can use a straight stitch. Most of your computerized sewing machines have a serpentine stitch on it. So you need to test it out on a piece of fabric. You might have to lengthen and widen your stitch to get it to the look that you want. But remember, you can always use a straight stitch. So you can go on a diagonal like I did here, or you can go straight up and down and then side to side. This is the presser foot that I recommend you use. It's called a walking foot. And you can get these for almost every sewing machine if you don't already have one. You can either go to your local sewing machine dealer store and have them order one for you, or you could go to an internet store called Sewing Machine Parts online and just ask for a walking foot for your model of machine, and you'll probably find one. They're used a lot. So after you've done your quilting stitches, then you're going to go to two opposite edges. You're going to go to your ironing board and fold them over towards the quilt top and press with your iron, and then fold over the top and press with your iron. And then you're going to stitch along this edge all the way down. So you do it on your two opposite edges, and then you're going to go to your other two opposite edges, fold it and press, fold it over the top and press, and then stitch along that edge. If you liked this video and you will want to get back and refer to it again, the best way that I can suggest to you is to write the name of the video down and set up a notebook like this called My Stitching Notes. So if there's specific videos that you watch on YouTube or other websites, write it down, the name of the video, the exact name of the video, and what was in that video that you liked. So for instance, if you wanted to know how to do your layering of a quilt, you know that you can go to that particular video. And if you want to know how I set this book up, it's called Tip of the Week, episode number 10, and the link will be listed below your YouTube screen. Well, here it is. It's all done. Now remember, in this one, the finished one, I used cotton batting, but you can use any batting that you want. And this was really quick. You can finish this in a few hours if you're just making this lap size quilt. Now, if you're interested in other quilting projects for beginners, check below your YouTube screen for those video links. You just scroll down to the description section, expand it open by clicking on the arrow, and you'll see all kinds of links listed below. Now also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.